Hare Krishna. Thank you, Hati Mataji, Pawan Prabhuji, Vishwanath Prabhuji for leading the chanting this morning. Hare Krishna to all the dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada, Vansha Kalpatarubhascha, Vasantabhyo Jagatadanam Bhavamibhyo Vaishnavibhyo. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, welcome everybody. Good to see you back, Pawan Prabhuji. Welcome back from California. Pritesh Prabhu, Shri Amataji. I missed you for a few days. Okay. Let's continue with our prayer. Anybody else would like to sing today? Jeev Jago is our prayer this week from Geetavali by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Yes, anybody would like to try?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Hati Mataji. Yeah.
I can try, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please go ahead, Mataji. Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji, can you tell me in fourth point how do you pronounce this? Inechi,
Enechi. Yeah.
Inechi Oshadi, right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. जीव जागो कोरा चांद बोले कोट नेत्र जाओ माया पिशाचिर खोले भजी बोलिया ऐसे संसार वितारे बोलिया रोहिले तुम्ही अविद्यार पारे তোমারে লইতে আমি হইন অবতারা আমি বিনা বন্ধু আর কে আছি তোমারা এনেছে ঔষধি মায়া নাসি পর লাগি হরি নাম মহামন্ত্র লাও তুমি মাগি भक्ति विनोद प्रभु चरण परिया श्री हरि नाम मंत्र लोय लो मागिया जीव जागो कोरा चांद बोले कोट निद्र जाओ माया पिशाचिर को ले हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Hati Mataji. Very nice. Sharonodaya Kirtan ki jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone would like to read the translation?
I can read, Prabhu.
Yes, Shriya Mataji.
Lord Gauranga is calling. Wake up, sleeping souls. Wake up, sleeping souls. How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? You have forgotten the way of devotional service and are lost in the world of birth and death. I have descended just to save you. Other than myself, you have no friend in this world. I have brought the medicine that will wipe out the disease of illusion from which you are suffering. Take this Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I fall at the Lord's feet, having taken this Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shri Mataji. Yeah, so like we were saying yesterday, this is a medicine that Lord Gaurachandra has brought. And connecting back to our reading from Prabhupada Leelamrit yesterday, one thing that we're reading was um, Prabhupada was mentioning that Jiva Goswami mentions that actually just this medicine of Hare Krishna Mahamantra alone is sufficient. So actually we should pause and reflect on that. It's a very, very significant point that we are all in this world diseased with this material conditioning and illusion. And Srila Jiva Goswami is saying that this medicine alone is sufficient to take us back home, back to Godhead. So that's a very, very significant point. That just one thing, I was reflecting back to our Gita Jayanti when we sang the Gita Mahatmya, where we talked about the same theme there, that Eko Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam, Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva, Eko Mantras Tasya Namani Yani, Karmapi Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva. So that is that if we want one thing, I mean, in this world, at least for me, I can speak, I can't do multitasking, I can't do 100 things. If I just have to focus one thing, then it has been given very clearly by our acharyas that we just have to take up this process of chanting the holy name. And this alone is sufficient to take us back home, back to Godhead. But just because our minds are so restless, like Jiva Goswami was saying yesterday, in this age, it is required. We have to do other things also. So it is good that we have been given the Navada, Navada Bhakti, process of bhakti to, depending on our mind, depending on our situation, mood, we can choose. If we don't like to chant at this time, we can stand and do kirtan. If we don't like to do kirtan, we can maybe do deity worship. If we don't like to do deity worship at that time, maybe we can do some other seva, right? So like that, there are different flavors that have been given. But if somebody like me who doesn't do anything else, I just want to do one thing, then just by chanting the holy names alone is sufficient to go back home, back to Godhead. So that was a very, very wonderful point. Actually, I was thinking how that makes sense because in one lecture I was hearing by His Holiness Radha Govind Goswami Maharaj, he was mentioning that Prabhupada says that those who don't follow the four regulative principles, they're not even human beings. So, like somebody asked Prabhupada, can you make me Brahmana? Prabhupada said, first you have to become a human before I can make you Brahmana, right? So for that, you have to follow the four regulative principles. So when you follow the four regulative principles, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, then you come to the level of even first of all being a human. Then then Prabhupada says, I can make you a Brahmana, yes. So again, tying it back to this theme, then you have to, once again, those are at the bodily level. If you think, all the four regulative principles are actually meant to purify your body, purify your senses. And then after that, the holy name purifies your consciousness. So, um, so yeah, so in that sense, if you are, once you are coming to the level of a human platform, then, you can be purified. But the holy name itself is so powerful that it can purify all your impurities, even of the senses, even of your mind, all your intelligence. So anyway, um, yeah, we actually, if we remember, like we are, again, that is a Bhagavad Gita instruction 101, that we are not the body, right? So we are the souls. So if we are able to purify just our whole consciousness just by this chanting of the Maha Mantra, that is the main disease. Like we don't even have to nourish our body. Like you were saying, chanting is the medicine, and prasadam is the diet. Like when you're sick, for example, like I'm sick right now. So when you're sick, then first thing we need to do is, of course, we need to have a good balance of medicine and diet both. But medicine, first of all, needed, very importantly, to cure. And then diet is kind of complementary. But here Jiva Goswami is saying just the medicine alone is sufficient because we have to just give up our consciousness that we are the body. So, and that can be done by the chanting of the Maha Mantra. Okay. All right, let's continue. Chapter 61. We are reading about the 108 rose bushes in Los Angeles. So Prabhupada is establishing all the practices of deity worship, Sankirtan party, everything in Los Angeles. And yes, the 108 number is also very significant because that's the mala, japa mala that we do every morning. And we add up, it becomes 9. And 9 is the number of Maryada Purushottam, Sri Ram and Sita Devi. Both of them came on Navami. So this is a very important number. Let's continue with 108 rose bushes, chapter 61. Okay, so we read up to this yesterday. So we'll continue from here. So Prabhupada is teaching the process of Mangalarti, deity worship. So breakfast is offered to the deities a few hours after Mangalarti. Afterward, all the devotees can take the remnants of that offering as the deity's prasadam. Then another arti is performed at noon, after which the devotees take the remnants for lunch. And there are 3 other artis at 4 in the afternoon, at 7 p.m., and another at 9 p.m. Then the deities take rest. Understanding that the deity is actually the Lord and the proprietor of the temple, the devotees should serve him just as a king is served in his palace. By doing this, the devotees would naturally increase their Krishna consciousness. But it had to be done with enthusiasm. Prabhupada cautioned that if enthusiasm waned, it could turn into drudgery and become like idol worship. The disciples would be sorry they had ever begun it. After being instructed by Srila Prabhupada, Shilavati returned to the temple to prepare for the new worship procedure. Next Sunday, when Prabhupada visited the temple, he stood and watched Shilavati offering arati. Afterwards, when Shilavati joined the other devotees in Prabhupada's room adjacent to the temple, Prabhupada greeted her by saying, "Now we will have arati." Shilavati looked surprised. "Oh," she said, "but I just had arati." "No, you didn't," Prabhupada said. "It wasn't good?" she asked. "No, it wasn't good." Prabhupada then went into the temple and asked the devotees to bring him the various articles for offering arati. Standing before the altar, Prabhupada called out, "I want camphor." "What's camphor?" the devotees asked. "Where do we get camphor?" Someone immediately ran out to buy some. Then Prabhupada asked for flowers. Item by item, the arti paraphernalia came together. As Prabhupada, standing before the altar, directed the devotees to bring him each item. When everything was finally assembled, Prabhupada demonstrated how Aarti should be done. Then again he turned it over to Shilavati. He had shown them, and now they should continue with enthusiasm. When Prabhupada first introduced festivals and spiritual observances for the holidays on the Vaishnava calendar, the devotees in Los Angeles were delighted. They would plan many of the Sunday festivals around a particular event. A butter churning festival commemorated Krishna's activities as a cowherd boy. The celebration of Govardhan Puja observed Krishna's pastime of lifting Govardhan hill, and festivals observed the appearance of Lord Ram and Lord Narasimha, etc. These were not new ideas for Prabhupada, but now, for the first time, he had facility and enthusiastic helpers to implement them. In February, on the appearance day of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Prabhupada came to the temple and cooked potatoes and cauliflower, sweet rice, halwa, and puris. While the devotees crowded in the doorway watching, Prabhupada cooked with silent concentration, cleaning the stove and sink after each step. One day, Shilavati discovered a bud on one of the 108 rose bushes. She excitedly called some devotees to see. Soon, the other bushes would bloom with flowers to offer to the deity, and the devotees knew Prabhupada would be pleased. Shilavati. Jayananda planted 108 rose bushes, and we were all very anxious for the bushes to bloom. One day, I found a little rosebud, and I was really excited. It was a yellow rose. I knew from the bud that the bush was going to be yellow and would have a particular fragrance like that flower. I felt that way about our temple. Maybe there were other temples that were bigger and grander, but the essence of Srila Prabhupada's vision was expressed in that temple. Just like with the rose bush, you could tell the color and aroma of all the flowers on the bush. So, from that temple, we could derive the essence of this movement, what went on there. The devotees were aware that their activities were successful model beginnings of what Prabhupada would institute throughout America and the rest of the world. Tamal Krishna had organized Back to God and magazine distribution so that the devotees, while out chanting in the streets, regularly sold an unprecedented 100 magazines a day. Vishnujan was wonderful, singing and playing mridanga all day long. Prabhupada said he could lead Kirtan like a Gandharva. And Vishnujan's puppet shows and dramatic skits for the Sunday festivals were something new to ISKCON and well appreciated by the guests. They made the Sunday program not just a feast but a festival. And now Prabhupada had introduced a higher standard of deity worship. The devotees were inspired to serve together in Prabhupada's presence, and they worked long hours together, not with an attitude of pride in their own achievement, but with an esprit de corps. They worked hard, but it was all recreation. They saw their engagements as eternal devotional service, even though performed in the temporary setting of the one-story wooden church in the metropolis of Southern California. But crucial to the success of the Los Angeles temple was Prabhupada's personal presence there. Only because he was there was everything so successful. Although the devotees only saw him once a week, they knew he was at his apartment on Hayward Street, and they would see him again. Prabhupada had been living in Los Angeles 4 months now, and almost since his arrival, he had been considering leaving. He regularly received invitations from sincere disciples inspired with the divine spirit, the impetus to spread Krishna consciousness. That spirit had led disciples to different parts of the world as missionaries of Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada, as the source of that spirit for his disciples, wanted to be with them, to help them, and to strengthen whatever they had begun. He couldn't remain in one place very long. He had to keep moving, and like a flying, dancing spark, ignite the fire of Krishna consciousness wherever it would catch and in as many hearts as possible. This spirit had especially manifested in Prabhupada since his return to America in December 1967, after recuperating in India from his illness. The Krishna consciousness movement only really began, he said, after he had returned to the United States. When he had come for the first time, he had been successful in beginning centers in New York and San Francisco. He had seen that young people would take to Krishna consciousness. But then a heart attack had almost cost his life. He had at that time seemed a retired person returning home to India. But Krishna had somewhat restored his health and allowed him to return to America. So now, with a new aggressiveness and with much more deliberate, active planning, he would open as many centers as possible. At last, Synagogue Prabhupada had finally received permanent residency status in the United States, recognized by the US Immigration Department as an ordained minister of religion. And he was now free to come and go. So Prabhupada was eager and prepared to travel not only in the United States but abroad. On Gaur Sundara's invitation, he had been ready to go to Hawaii as early as December, but Tamal Krishna had pleaded with him to stay in Los Angeles and continue to inspire the Sankirtan party. In January, Prabhupada wrote to the devotees in London, I have received a letter from a man in Guyana, and he has invited me to go there. There is an invitation to go to Hawaii also, but above all, I am very much anxious to see a London temple established first. Shyam Sundara had written that Prabhupada's visit to London would be the biggest event in London since the time of the Roman invasion. Prabhupada replied, Actually, this will be so. This time, however, there will be no invasion. But if England is prepared, they will receive something sublime which they cannot produce in their own country, neither in Manchester, Glasgow, or Edinburgh. But Prabhupada's London preachers had not even managed to establish a center. They had been forced by circumstances to live separately in different parts of the city. They had no place for Prabhupada to stay, so Prabhupada planned to visit other places. But he was most eager to go to London and declared himself fit in health and prepared for any climatic condition in England. For correspondence with Hayagreeve, from correspondence with Hayagreeve, now teaching English at Ohio State University, Prabhupada learned of their newly formed Krishna Yoga Society. Hayagriva wanted to arrange a program for Prabhupada to chant with Allen Ginsberg before a large group of students. Prabhupada told Hayagriva to set a date. He would go anywhere to preach. On Feb 13, Prabhupada wrote to Krishnadas in Germany, I can immediately go to Germany. What is the temperature there now? The only problem is it should not be too cold for me. I'm an old man. During February, Prabhupada also suggested that his French-speaking disciple Janardhan go to Paris and start something there among his scholarly associates. In Buffalo, Rupanuga had written Prabhupada of his successful student center and the 75 students regularly attending his classes in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada wrote to Rupanuga, "Regarding your desire to take me there for some time, it is long overdue, and if the climate is suitable, I can go even now if you think it is necessary." Gradually, Prabhupada formed a full spring itinerary. "Considering the local climate as presented by you," he wrote to Kirtananda in New Vrindavan, "I think I shall postpone it until the end of April." Similarly, he promised Brahmananda and Satsarupa to visit New York and Boston in the spring. From Hawaii, Govinda Dasi promised the end of the rainy season, the beginning of the mango season, and local interest in Krishna consciousness. So by late February, Prabhupada had a scheduled tour of about a dozen places, starting in early March with Hawaii. During Prabhupada's 5 months in Los Angeles, many devotees had joined. All of them had learned firsthand how, in Krishna consciousness, everything centered around Krishna's pure devotee, the spiritual master. Having had their spiritual master with them for so long, the thought of his absence was painful. He had taught them everything except how to continue without him. But Prabhupada assured them that their service to him in separation was even higher service. Just as they wanted him to stay, so he also wanted to stay. But this traveling and preaching Krishna consciousness throughout the world was his duty to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, even at the risk of slackening his writing pace and leaving the ideal Krishna conscious setting where his 108 rose bushes were just beginning to bloom. Bhavananda. We all went to the airport to see Prabhupada off. Prabhupada was waiting for the plane, and then it was time to leave. He was with his new servants, Purushottam and Kartikeya, and we were all chanting and crying. Prabhupada looked so bright as he walked down that little tunnel. He turned and waved, and then he just turned onto the plane. I was crying. I was thinking, I've been looking for my spiritual master for so long, and now that I've finally found him, he's leaving me. I'll never see him again. Then the plane was taxiing down the runway. It took off, and we were all looking out the windows of the terminal building until the last speck. Just like when Krishna left the gopis and went to Mathura, we kept looking until the last speck of the airplane was gone. Chapter 62, Preaching in Germany. August 1969. Prabhupada wanted to go to England. His obligations on the West Coast fulfilled, he was eager to travel and preach on a new continent. But his disciples in England, although creating a significant impression on the London, hadn't yet found a temple. The three couples were living in three different apartments around the city. Still, after a year, they had no center. But in Germany, young Shivananda had opened a little storefront temple within a few months of his arrival. Prabhupada decided to go as soon as possible to Shivananda in Germany, and from there go to England when they were ready for him. In July, he wrote Krishnadas, who had joined Shivananda. "You wanted to fix up a date, so I'm telling you that I'm prepared now on any day you call me." Only 4 disciples and a few friends were in Hamburg. At first, they became a little bewildered, although blissful, to hear Prabhupada wanted to come. They weren't sure they had enough money. Would they have to pay his ticket all the way from California? And his secretary's ticket? All they had was a tiny storefront. Where would Prabhupada stay? Not many people attended the temple programs. So what would Prabhupada do in Hamburg? Prabhupada sensed their confusion when they sent a discount Icelandic Airlines ticket to him at the wrong address in California. He wrote them on August 5. From these letters, it appears that things are not yet settled up, and under the circumstances, there is no use rushing the matter. Settle things up nicely, and when you get the money from Mukunda and the apartment, then arrange for the tickets, and we shall start. Do everything cool-headedly. In 1968 in Montreal, when he had heard Srila Prabhupada talk about bringing Krishna consciousness to London, Shivananda had asked to go. At first, however, Prabhupada had doubted whether such a young, inexperienced boy should go alone to a foreign country, and Shivananda was proposing. But when Shivananda had persisted, Prabhupada had allowed him, although warning, "Be careful. I was an old Calcutta boy when I came to New York, and I never got cheated." Shivananda had very little money, but in August 1968, his mother had paid for his trip to England. London immigration authorities had refused him entry, and he had gone to Amsterdam. There he had drawn public attention and press coverage by dressing in a dhoti and chanting in public. He had sent Prabhupada the news clippings as well as a letter expressing enthusiasm and loneliness. Touched by Shivananda's bold, pioneering spirit, Prabhupada had written him as spiritual father to son. I have seen the description of your activities in Amsterdam, but I could not understand the language. But one thing I observed in that article was my name, Swami A.C. Bhaktivedant. This indicates that your tour in Europe is going to be very successful. I hope you will receive this letter and be courageous, and always chant Hare Krishna. You will be successful in the same way that I was. I came to New York in the same helpless way, and gradually many students like you have come to help me. So don't be disappointed. Try your best, and Krishna will give you all help. I understand that one young Finland boy has joined you, and similarly, many other young men will come and join you because the whole world is in need of Krishna consciousness. My Guru Maharaj used to say, there is no scarcity of anything in this world save and except Krishna consciousness. Keep your present attitude intact. Have good faith in your spiritual master and Krishna, and everything will be all right. You already have taken the secret of success, sincerity. Pull on with that mentality, and Krishna will give you all help. You're right to say, I really miss Prabhupada and my God Brothers Association so much. But I may remind you that I'm always with you. Wherever I am, you and your God Brothers are there. Please remember always the humble teachings that you have received from me, and that will keep you always associated with me and with your God Brothers also. Hey, Hare Krishna. What's here? Yeah, so again and again, Prabhupada is reminding that he's always there with us. Yesterday also he was saying to Upendra, will you chant one round with me? And Prabhupada said, don't forget, I'm always with you. So that's also very, very positive, inspiring thought that when we chant these 108 beads every morning, the 109th beat, the Guru beat is always there with us when we chant. Should always remember that our Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada are always there with us, and their mercy is always there with us. So yeah. And yeah, and like Prabhupada is saying here, when he came, he was alone. Um, only thing that he had was firm faith in the holy name, and by the mercy of his Guru Maharaj, everything manifested. So similarly, he's inspiring his disciples who are going out, and he's not even bothering about his own personal care. Like we saw, he's sending his personal secretary, personal servant, everybody to different parts of the world so that they can go out there and they can open centers and preach Krishna consciousness. So uh, again, the mood of service and separation is very, very evident here, that he wants that, not that you stick to him as a bodyguard. That is not very important, but you serve your spiritual master by following his instructions. So when you serve in separation, then you develop love in separation. And like we saw the example that was given at the end of last chapter, again of gopis, remembering Krishna, serving Krishna when he went away to Mathura in separation. So that service in separation, as we sing in Gopi Geet, that the Gopi Pragayantya, Kalapantya Chitrada, Rurudu Suswaram Rajan, Krishna Darshana Lalasa. So they were singing and they were crying and wanting Krishna to come back, and they were crying, and that cry to see Krishna, that service and separation developed their intense love in separation. And that is ultimately that is our goal, that we are all seeking in this life, is to develop the love of Godhead. And we have the formula right here, that when you serve in separation, then you develop love in separation. And with that love in separation, then you have darshan of Krishna. So if you want to follow this particular blueprint, it has been given to us by these wonderful topmost devotees of the Lord in terms of gopis. So we just have to follow their instructions. And Prabhupada is saying again here, like when he came, or like he didn't understand what the language as Shivananda was preaching in Germany, but he saw his name here and he was very happy. So again, similar to when he came, when Prabhupada came, again he was fully dependent on his Guru Maharaj's mercy. He just came following the orders of his Guru Maharaj, who told him that he should go and preach in the West. So, also Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, always when I was reminded of that when Prabhupada used to say about Bhakti Siddhanta, that he would encourage his disciples to write, and when they would write, then when they will come and read in front of him, the only thing that Bhaktisiddhanta would be interested in was how many times the name of Krishna and or the Hare Krishna Mahamantra was there in the article. So if he heard enough times the names of Krishna or Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then he would pass that particular article. He'd say, yes, very nice. So like that, Prabhupada is reminding that we should always remember our Guru. We should always remember Krishna. We always chant Hare Krishna. Always have that in whatever we write, whatever we speak, then everything will be perfect. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else would like to say or share anything you liked or loved from today's reading?
Yes, Prabhu. Just made me remember yesterday's Prabhupada's quote, where we have a calendar and where he mentions every day the quotes. So it was really heart touching, where he said, like, sep- in se- separation from spiritual master is more ecstatic than meeting the spiritual master. um, Often, I feel that, in some circumstances, I'm like, oh, I'm not able to go to this program or this temple, or I'm not able to do this. But that, but then, slowly, and even from senior devotees, I've heard that sometimes the separation from the Lord is far more important than actually being there, because then you are relishing the highest mellow, that you're actually missing and remembering the Lord, um, every moment, rather than being there. And that's a very different and a beautiful feeling. So yeah, just wanted to share that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yes, anybody else would like to say anything? Okay. No other comments, then we'll pause here for today. Thank you for your kind association in the morning japa and reading. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णवंद की जय, जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की जय, निताई गौर
Yes.
प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।
Very poor.
Feel better, Prabhu. Hare
हरे कृष्ण।
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Yes.
Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji.